Hey everybody, it's Aaron Banyan.
And Timothy Bennett here.
Welcome to B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies. See episode number...
I don't remember.
We lost track already.
It's
very unprofessional. We'll figure it out. It's fine. You know where you're at in this in the series. Let's put it that way.
Right. You just keep listening and don't worry about which episode you're on.
Right.
Unless there's a part 2, then pay attention.
Yeah, well then you have to. But today we are going to talk about... Actually, we're just going to chat about the new Mortal Kombat trailer.
Hell yeah.
Because we're all really stoked about that, and it comes out in a week, and I think we're all going to watch it, and then the plan is to do the next episode on the movie itself.
Yep. So we'll have an episode coming out this Monday, and then I'm going to probably have this particular episode coming out in the same week, just so we can be ahead of the game.
Right.
For next Monday, where we'll talk about the Mortal Kombat movie.
We're trying to do a thing. Bear with us. We're trying to figure some shit out.
Yeah, we already had a pre-recorded episode, so we got to put that out there first anyway. And then,
right, for sure.
So we're definitely, this is just a new thing. So I guess we could talk about that. We kind of thought about some of the new movies that are coming out that we're excited for.
Yep.
We decided that we wanted to watch the trailer and then talk about that trailer, kind of what we're excited about from the trailer.
For sure.
Why we're going to anticipate that this movie should be so fantastic.
Right.
Or suck. One of those two. I don't know.
What's got us super excited, what's got us kind of down.
Yeah, and then when the movie comes out, we'll watch it, and then that following week we'll try to discuss it, talk about it, see if it held the expectation, because I think we're all victims of watching that trailer, being super excited about that trailer, and then realizing that trailer shows everything that you needed to see in the movie, and that the movie, the movie just fell flat, or just wasn't up to par, or basically
there just wasn't anything else good about it.
Yeah,
everything that was good about the movie was in the trailer.
And we're fan film people. Like, we love movies, and it's really hard to, I guess, get our hopes down about a movie, because we pretty much go in there already having a feel, or pretty open-minded about it. But there are some films out there that just...
You try to go in cautiously optimistic on some of them. Other ones you can't help but be excited about. And, it's a real crapshoot on whether or not you get let down.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are like
nostalgic, or
hinging
even
on
remakes
anything,
or something.
Anything memorable from your childhood that they're remaking.
Yep. Hence why, and I've voiced my opinion very loudly, Princess Bride should never be remade.
Don't touch that fucking movie.
Ever.
Yeah, don't touch it.
Put it in a vault and just leave it.
Yep.
Because that is one of those things, no one will ever do the justice that Rob Reiner did.
Well, and I told you they talked about, there was like a thing about them doing a reboot of it, or a remake, and Carrie Elwes took to Twitter and said something about don't do that.
Good. I know they did home movie version, where
they did
they're
it for
in quarantine.
Quibble or whatever did it, so it was everybody did a scene from the movie,
and then they just mashed it together. And I actually saw some of that, and it was pretty interesting. Jack Black.
Did you see the last scene?
No, I didn't.
It was Rob Reiner as Fred Savage and Carl Reiner
his
dad.
Oh,
and then
awesome.
Carl Reiner, 2 days after it was released, Carl Reiner died.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, that's cool.
So
though.
It was doubly devastating to watch.
Yet so appropriate.
Oh, for sure. And it was wonderfully done. Other than the fact that Rob Reiner in his 50s or 60s laying in a bed like a child was a little weird.
Yeah, but you know what? He's still... I feel like he'd be one of the few people in the world to still pull it off fairly well.
Yeah, even with a full beard.
Right?
For sure.
Because I absolutely love Rob Reiner in
America's Sweethearts?
No, New Girl. He's Jess's dad.
Oh, okay.
And I just think he's fantastic. I like him. Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, right.
We're talking about the Mortal Kombat trailer.
Rob Reiner will be a different episode.
Absolutely. He's on our list.
He's on the board.
Yes, he is. For good reasons. So, let's start off. Aaron, what was it that... Watching this trailer, what was it that caught your attention first? Watching it.
So,
what got you excited?
It seems like it's trying to tell its own story in a way, but it's doing the game justice as well, because the game was really a big deal, because it had so much blood and it had so much like violence to it.
Absolutely. I think that's the only reason why anybody wanted to watch it was because of the fatalities, or play the game is because of the fatalities.
Most definitely, like all the different ways you could, end your opponent and things like that.
And they just got better over the years for those more graphic, more detailed.
They've done that. They've added new things. Like I think at one point, friendship was a finisher. Like instead of like killing your partner, like you would do something to make friends with them, and it was just called friendship.
Wow, who did that?
I don't know. It was in one of the Mortal Kombats. I think like 5 or 6 or something like that.
I only played maybe the first couple of them. So
yeah, I was never good at fighting games, so I didn't play them a lot. Like I'm not good at button mashers. I get really frustrated and I don't want to play anymore.
I'm good at them. I enjoyed the Mortal Kombats. They started coming out with so many of them. Like, at the point, I didn't know where was what, and I felt like they were all exactly the same, except for the story. Which
you can only do so much with a fighting game outside of like making the story more interesting.
Yeah,
and they did it with Soul Calibur was another one.
Yeah,
where, like, they did that sort of shit. That'd be interesting to see them try to make a movie out of that.
It would be very interesting.
Especially if they go back to like the core like game, which I think was Soul Edge was the first one. I think it was Soul Edge, and then it became Soul Calibur after the second one.
I had one of the Soul Calibur games for PlayStation. I couldn't tell you which one though, but I had.
It didn't really matter if you didn't pay attention to the story. It's just a fighting game.
Yeah, yep. And when Mortal Kombat came out, I mean, I wasn't even in I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I think I was probably even earlier than that, to be honest.
I think Mortal Kombat came out. Yeah, I think I was around 10 or 11, maybe.
Yeah, I don't even know when the games came out.
Because I was still living out east when it came out.
I remember playing the games, but obviously I wasn't paying any attention to the story at the time.
Well, and even like that first one didn't really have much of a story. Like, there was it was the same thing with Street Fighter, where like there was like some shit talk at the end if you lost.
Yeah.
But other than that, there wasn't much.
Yep.
Like they really once other games started coming out that like were able to blow fighting games out of the water, they started having to add story to it to keep people interested.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it's just a fighting game that's not deviating from the basic formula, what's the fucking point of making 12 of them?
Yeah, it's true. Yep. I can get behind that.
So, I mean, I think that was really what it was. But like I said, the trailer seems like it's trying to hold true to the fact that it's about a tournament, and they're making it plausible to whatever degree you can make it with the characters that are in this fucking movie. They're making it as plausible as possible. I'm not certain of where I sit on the introduction of this new character, Cole. Because my issue with that is that in my mind, in all of Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang is like the hero, the quote unquote hero of the story. And it seems like he's become a side character in this movie.
So I think that there's a reason for that. I think one is they're just trying to modernize it for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like I said, it makes the story more plausible.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate. Like you said right away, they're trying to do kind of like their own thing.
Yeah.
But I also respect that because we already know about anybody who knows anything about the games or even the films or whatever. You already know Liu Kang is like the hero. He's the champion of Earth.
He's the main guy. Yeah.
So he's the one that he's Raiden's champion of Earth. He's the one that's fighting to defend Earth in the Mortal Kombat. But in this case, we have something new, and I think I like that.
It definitely makes it interesting. Like I say, I don't know where I fall. I guess I'll have to watch the movie and see how the character itself does, because there's not a lot given about that character.
No.
It's everything you feel or you get about that character is in reference to other characters interacting with him.
Yep. Yeah. Like
Jax in the card being like, you were chosen.
Sonya Blade telling him
about
this
tournament, about the tournament, things like that.
Well, and that's something I think that if you really want to look at that trailer, they're pulling out every character. They're basically telling you who's going to be in this movie. And yet my question is kind of like, are they going to bring in other characters? Because they just showed like everybody. Who else is there?
There are, as my understanding, there are at least a few more characters that I did not see that could be brought in.
Yeah. Same here. But there's a lot of characters in this universe. So,
because I mean, I didn't see Johnny Cage.
He's actually not going to be in it.
So see, that's one of those main characters, like from every game. Johnny Cage is one of those ones that, like, why you leave him out?
So I read a blip about it was an internet question that says, why isn't Johnny Cage, one of the main characters of the Mortal Kombat franchise, not going to be in this film? But I didn't read the answer. I guess they gave an answer and I didn't read.
My wonder is if Cole, the original character they're making for this movie, isn't sort of taking his spot.
Possibly. He is like an MMA fighter who's now going into this tournament for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yet, Johnny was an actor who kind of lost his way of being this, fighter, this humble fighter, and kind of just cashed out. And
I mean,
his whole story is about self-discovery. That's what Johnny's Cage. And maybe that's why they didn't do it, because maybe this is, like you said, the self-discovery of this guy.
It's a way to make a character that brings in, like, kind of the story can, like, revolve around. Yeah. And it may just be that he fills the role that Johnny Cage would have filled.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Until we see the movie, at least.
I'm curious, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, there's, Katana I didn't see in the trailer. She was the one with the fans.
Yep.
Katana, her mother, Sindel, with the hair.
Yeah, I think you're right, Sindel.
Yeah,
Sindel.
And then there's a centaur.
Yep.
And then the female version of Goro weren't in there either.
Nope. But
yeah, who knows? I don't know how long this movie could be 5 hours long.
Right. Probably not. It says it's an hour and 50 minutes, but still.
It may feel 5 hours long.
They may pack a lot in there too.
We can only hope, right?
Right. So the synopsis of this, or the description that they have on IMDb is MMA fighter Cole Young, which is the guy we're talking about, seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. And so if anybody doesn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, basically there are higher beings and otherworldly dimensional powers other than humans who are out there, and one of them is Outworld. Outworld is ran by Shao Kahn, who is an immortal, who's like, he's not quite a god, but if you want to look at him, he's like a demigod. And he's the king or whatever of the ruler of Outworld. And he has his little minion, who is Shang Tsung, who's a sorcerer. He holds on this competition called Mortal Kombat. The name says it all. And it's basically a fight to the death. And what it is it's other dimensions' greatest warriors who come in and they fight for the rights to that dimension. And now it's Earth's turn. And basically, Outworld is going to consume or take over after the 10th. Now, this is at least in the Mortal Kombat universe, the 10th fight. If they win, which they've won 9 in a row, this 10th one is basically the last chance, and then they
tournament?
In the tournament. So they've won 9. Outworld has won 9 tournaments out of 10. When they reach that 10th one, they can take over and consume and breach whatever Earth's realm and take over. So it's basically, if you want to look at it, a kind of simple, I guess, comparison, it's like hell being brought onto Earth. So, but you have the elders, which are like the gods, which is Raiden. Lord Raiden is the thunder god, and he's one of the elders. He's one of the only ones that can also defeat Shao Kahn. So, but he is not allowed to partake or interfere with this tournament. And that's why he has chosen, usually in the original path, Liu Kang as his champion to defend Earth. Because if he defends Earth, then, they continue to live freely, whatever.
Which makes me wonder, if they won 9 out of 10, if they lose the 10th, does it start over?
I think they move on to a different world.
Is it? Okay.
I think that's curious how that works. Yeah.
I never read that far into it, so I don't know.
this is what makes me really curious, though, about this character is because, like you just said, Liu Kang was kind of the primary character.
Yeah.
And now we have this other character. So why is he so special?
Right.
And is he supposed to be taking on that role? I mean, the questions that I have are pretty much the same questions you just asked.
Can only really be answered when we watch it.
So that right there, though,
makes me want to watch it more.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you nailed it with that. Like, they're trying to do something original.
Yeah.
And I think the most exciting thing about that is it's something that's being remade in an original concept, which is very unique to see nowadays.
Yeah, they're not just taking all like the core stuff and just shitting it back out like onto film somehow. Like kind of the way like Annihilation did.
Oh God, yeah. It was like they were already contracted, and I think they lost half their shit, so they basically were like
the original actor that played Johnny Cage didn't even come back for the second movie, even though he died in the beginning of the movie anyway. He didn't come back for the second movie.
Nope.
The guy that played Raiden wasn't the same guy.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert was great too.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, other than the fact that he's not Asian.
Doesn't matter.
And he wasn't wearing the hat.
Yeah, he was. He was wearing a hat at one point.
Was he?
A couple times, yeah.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
But still.
Again, and he had that long white hair.
Yeah.
Which was really fucking weird.
He was a white boy playing an Asian guy, and it just seemed a little off. But he was still great.
So this is back in the 90s. You could get away with
you
that
could.
shit. No
you
one
totally
didn't fucking
could.
care about it.
Yeah, you totally could. They also replaced Jax too, because Jax wasn't a primary character in the first one. He was introduced in the beginning.
Well, yeah, because essentially he wasn't like I don't think he was a playable character in the. Well, he wasn't in the first one.
In the first game.
Yeah, I think he didn't come till the second or third one.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. I don't think he had the robot arms.
Yeah.
I think he was just like.
Just
a black guy that you could play
as.
Like, I think he was just kind of like Sonya, and then I think the next one after that he had metal arms.
Yeah.
And so like right in that gap is where they started making Annihilation.
See, and that's just it. Like, if you want to look at the originals, like the first movie was great for its time. It was great
for its time and what they had.
Yep.
Yeah, it was well done.
And I think that other than what's his name, Robin Lee. Is that his name?
The guy who played Liu Kang?
Yeah. I think his name.
I don't know his name offhand.
I mean, there's only a couple things I've ever seen him in. And that's...
Those two movies are the only things I've ever seen.
He was also in the Street Fighter, the 2010 Street Fighter film with Kristen Cook, who was in Smallville, Lana Lang.
Oh.
But other than that, I haven't really seen him much other than Beverly Hills Ninja.
That's right. I just watched that movie the other day, too.
It's great. It's so good. I mean, it's cheesy and it's ridiculous, but it's Chris Farley, man. He's great. But I thought he was a great character, but I thought Kano in the original was
guy,
perfect.
I feel
he
like
died.
He died?
He died. He died shortly after those films.
Oh, damn. I thought I'd seen him in something else somewhere. I can't tell you what it was now, but that's a bummer.
Yeah, so he died, but I thought he was a great Kano.
Yeah, I did too. I think
and this new guy,
they got someone with the same accent.
Well, he's Australian.
Yeah, well,
he's supposed to be Australian.
Is Kano Australian in the game? Oh, I didn't.
Well, I don't know about it in the game, to be honest. Like I said, I haven't played those games for so
Sonya's
long.
chasing him in fucking New York in the first movie, so that's why I don't know.
I think he's supposed to be Australian.
Is he?
Period.
Okay.
But
well, that's fine. I mean, I don't.
I think that this guy doesn't quite look as intimidating or as badass as the original guy.
No,
he looks.
His frame is almost too narrow.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's like, where's his muscle?
He's supposed to have broad shoulders.
Yeah. Like, the original guy was perfect.
He's an imposing thug. That's what Kano was. But yeah, so I mean, I at least think the way they have him acting though, like the end of that trailer when he comes out holding the heart and it says Kano wins, and then just looks at the heart and says, "You fucking beauty."
Yep.
That was hilarious to me. And I think that part is going to be entertaining. If he doesn't do anything else well, I at least think he'll be written entertaining.
Well, and one thing that they did do, which is appropriate, was they have his laser eye.
Yeah.
And they don't show that in the original. They have him with a metal face and a red eye.
Yeah.
But they don't have him shooting laser out. And that's part of the thing in the video game was he had that.
Yep.
They did this now, and I'm kind of excited. So I think this guy was going to do great.
Well, yeah, and like I say, I mean,
or at least I have a lot of hope for it.
I hope he does well. I'm interested to see how Kung Lao plays in.
Yeah, because he wasn't in any of the other two, right?
He wasn't until like the third one.
Yeah,
And my understanding,
I don't know anything about that guy.
I have to remember, but I think he's supposed to be an ancestor of Liu Kang.
Like an older,
like an old ancestor.
Okay,
like an ancestor.
Like his great.
I think
great times 1,000 kind of
like
ancestor,
like,
an ancient
in
warrior.
In the same way, like, you know, Sub-Zero and Scorpion are kind of not really supposed to be in the time they're in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because the way they play a lot of like Scorpion and Sub-Zero is that they've been fighting for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I know that in later video games, and I think it was maybe the last one, they did a lot of time traveling stuff.
Yeah,
and maybe. I was aware of that, and
I wasn't, but no.
Well, I was aware of it just because of someone looking into
sure.
it. And even Jason kind of told me about that because he said he played the last couple games, but there's a lot of time travel, and so that probably has a lot to do with some of that shit. But
and I could be wrong on my understanding of Kung Lao, but I thought he was supposed to be an ancestor of Liu Kang.
Yeah, see, I don't know anything about him.
Other than the fact that he throws his hat like a fucking buzzsaw. Like, I don't know much about him either. Like that he
guy.
He uses the hat as a weapon.
I remember playing that guy.
Yeah, that's Kung Lao.
Right. I don't know anything about him still, but I remember doing that move.
He was one of those guys that like he came in right around the same time Baraka, I think, was introduced.
Yep. Which is another character that
you see a brief mention of him in like a mural.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it. And no, so hopefully they bring that into because that'd be cool.
That'd be interesting. That's where like there's a scene where like there's a sword that goes through like the canvas door, and it's kind of sliding up. Like I wonder if that's Baraka.
See, and I thought that was just because it was right after the what's the
Scorpions.
Well, yeah, it's what his real name before he was Scorpion.
Oh yeah,
it was I'm gonna butcher this, but Hanzo Hasashi.
Okay.
I know I butchered it, but
no, I think you're pretty close.
So he's the man, the human version. That's his name of Scorpion before he turns into Scorpion. So Scorpion was after he died.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into the mythos or whatever, Scorpion. So Sub-Zero's clan, and
Sub-Zero is just a mantle that is given to people in that clan, isn't it? Because I feel like there's different.
They have well, kind of and kind of not. So you have Sub-Zero, and then you have his brother who takes the reign of Sub-Zero, but Sub-Zero's bad, and his brother was actually good.
Right.
And his brother didn't agree with how Sub-Zero, his older brother, did things, so there was kind of this opposing. But they're a part of the same clan, but they're the Sub-Zero, and I don't know their clans. I'm not going to pronounce that shit because
let's not even go there.
No, but Sub-Zero's clan and Scorpion's clan, they basically stem from the same branch of ninjutsu. That there was one particular master that trained these people, but then there's these two apprentices who just didn't agree or looked at it and took it on their own to separate, and then they created these two clans, which is why they go against each other, which is what creates that story. And they showed that too, and I'm super excited for that because Scorpion is the most iconic character and most favorable character. He's always been my favorite. Yeah, favorable character in Mortal Kombat, and to know his origins a little bit. You don't get that in the originals.
Oh yeah, you get fuck all from the originals for
Sub-Zero. So yeah, like I'm really excited to see this because they show it. They show his clan being slaughtered because that's basically what creates Scorpion as who Scorpion is he comes home and his family is slaughtered. His whole clan is slaughtered. So he takes out of rage. He kills all of the opposing, which is Sub-Zero's clan. Yeah. Kills them all. Just kills them all. Just fucking destroys them. Right. The one man. Because he's obviously supposed to be top dog. Yeah. And but what happens is he gets murdered and kills, and then he goes down to hell. Or what's considered hell. It's actually considered netherworld. Yep. But it's basically hell. And then
he's essentially Ghost Rider.
Basically. And then what happens there is he then fights his way through hell or netherworld until he goes to Q-Chi, or I don't know. He's like a sorcerer, necromancer.
Quan Chi, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Necromancer, who basically, gives him the scorpion embodiment that we know. Yep. And then he goes after Sub-Zero.
And that's always, a basic juxtaposition, because Scorpion is breathed in yellow, and there's a lot of flames about him, like fire, and then Sub-Zero is obviously blue with ice. So there's that very easy way
duality.
To look. Yeah,
it's the duality. Yep, and that's I think why those two are the most iconic.
Yeah, they're icons
and they're favorites. Like I'm not a big fan of Sub-Zero over Scorpion, but if you could watch those two battle it out all day, I would. And
sure.
And that's something I think I'm super excited for as well about this is you don't only get to see in the trailer them fighting it out, but one thing that the original films lacked so hard was the abilities.
Yep.
Now we have the technology.
The effects that could have been done in the original movie, or should have been done to really do the proper justice. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like we said, it was good for its time, and it did what it could.
What, 95?
Oh, I had the movie on VHS, so yeah, probably around there. But yeah,
95. Yeah. 97 was Annihilation. Robin Shao. That's okay. I was kind of close. I got Robin right.
It's true. Annihilation, I always kind of have a special place in my heart for, just because it was something my mom, for my birthday, kept me out of school one Friday, and we went to the movies, and it was just her and I, and that was the movie we saw. That's
awesome.
It was
way to go, Ma.
So yeah, it's a nice memory I have of my mother.
Total nostalgic for you then.
So it'll, as bad as it is, it'll always hold a special place in my heart.
I have a soft spot for it too, to be honest. Like I thought the first one was great, and the second one had potential. There were so many cool things in there. I mean, it added more characters that you got to see.
Yep.
But
even
it was
if they were only in passing.
Yeah, but they were just. It fell apart because of the studios and all the other people who weren't a part of it, and it had a lot of issues. But you finally got, like the guy who's playing. The guy who's playing Jax is different, but he's actually present, and he's kind of a main character.
He's not a throwaway character like in the first one.
Yep, and that's kind of cool to see because he's nothing special, but it was just cool to see.
Well, in the second one, he actually they actually made a point of giving him some character growth.
Yes,
which I thought was nice.
And then the guy who played the big guy, Shao Kahn. Mm-hmm. I like that actor playing him.
I see him in everything. Like he's been in tons of shit.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
I can't either.
I remember him playing.
He's in Buffy he's in Buffy twice, as two different characters.
Yeah. And
then I believe he's in Angel at one point.
More likely, yeah.
And then he was in the movie Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. He was the leader of the gang.
He was in Joe Dirt.
Yeah, he was Buffalo Bob.
Yep.
What was the other movie I was just thinking of with him?
He's been in a handful of stuff.
I just remember him from Buffy when she fires the rocket launcher at him because he's that demon. He's like, "What's that thing do?"
I liked him in that. It was kind of cool to see him brought into the picture, and I didn't think that guy did a bad job. But I'm curious on if they're going to do this with.
Well, because you only see Shao Kahn in that as a statue.
Yep.
So that'll be.
And my guess is in Outworld. So
it has to be.
They're going to go to Outworld at some point, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering, like I said, about Katana. We saw Melina. I feel like Melina and Katana were introduced at the same time in the game.
Are these like sisters?
I think they're sisters, or they're close in some way. Their costume design is the same product as like any of the costumes that Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Reptile, Smoke all had before any of them were made into cyborgs. They all had the same costume. It was just a variation on color.
Yeah, because you had...
I'm trying to think of all the guys. It was Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Smoke, Reptile, Noob, Saibot. Cyrax. So yeah, there's at least 6 of those guys. And then you had Katana, Melina, and I believe Jade was the third one.
Yeah, Jade. That's who I think. I think you're right.
Yeah. Those 3, and they were all the same costume. It's just they had a different weapon.
Yep.
And a different color.
Yep. Like you just said, it's basically the same as Scorpion, Reptile,
and
all
that's
that.
a lot of just saving time on programming. I'm sure. So.
Yeah, I'm curious because you had mentioned like we get to see just a blip of like Reptile. It looks like
Reptile.
smoke.
You get to see his knee.
Yeah, smoke comes into there. You see, was it Goro?
Oh, Goro. Yeah. Goro's in there like fighting. Who the fuck was he fighting?
I didn't catch that.
I thought I saw who he was fighting, but what?
No.
Yeah. Goro's in there for a blip. You see Shang Tsung. Obviously, because he's a big part of the original version.
Yeah, he's the one that's created, or he's running the tournament.
What's interesting is I almost would have liked to have seen them do something with the idea that in the first one he's an old man, and then he transforms himself into someone younger. Or no, I take that back. He's transformed at some point in one of the later games as like a punishment for failing, I believe, is how he ends up being younger in a couple games later.
Yeah.
Because the first one he's an old man, and I think the third one he's young again.
And so he has to like build himself up. Is that his punishment for failing?
Like he's just forced to compete. Like
that's what I mean. And he's no longer running it now.
He's a competitor.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting to see if they did it.
Yeah.
But that's obviously one of those things that it's probably not the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah. I'm curious. I don't know. What this trailer, it's a great trailer.
It's a great trailer. They pack so much in that like you can't really get a good grip on anything. I feel like.
I've watched this trailer now for like the 14th time since it's come out. I just can't get enough of it, and I just can't wait till next Friday, because
next Friday it comes out. So
I just want more. I want to know. It's the biggest exciting part about this film for me is seeing all the fatalities, but seeing all the abilities. That's what I want to see. I almost could care less about where the story's going to go at this point, and I just want to see somebody do the justice and show these fatalities. Because that fight scene, like Sub-Zero, you see a lot of his abilities in the trailer.
Yep.
And it's badass, but he's also the only one that you really see the abilities from in the original film. Right. And I want more. And like now you get to see some other abilities. Yeah. So I'm just super excited to see this come to life.
I will feel cheated if I don't see like somehow Johnny Cage's like bicycle kick come into play. No, that wasn't Johnny Cage. Liu Kang does the bicycle kick.
Yeah, Liu Kang does it. Yep.
Johnny Cage has like shadow kick or whatever, where like he kind of just jumps up and he just sort of like teleports across the screen.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to see that, but
he does do his fire dragon thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
The animality.
Yeah, you see that in the trailer. So who knows?
Could happen, yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's so many things that could be done. There's fatalities, animalities. I really think the friendships were a thing. I think there was a one of the games you could turn your opponent into a baby.
That's ridiculous. That's awesome.
And so there were just so many different ways, like not only like the fatalities, but like the environmental kills.
Yeah. Like slamming them up against a wall of spikes or whatever.
Yeah, or when you're on that ledge and you knock them off and they fall into a pool of acid or something like that.
Yep.
Things like that. Like there's so many different things that they can incorporate into the movie. I'll be interested to see what they choose. Right,
yeah, because then that's actually a very excellent point. Environment has a lot to do with those games.
Yep.
Because you are not only looking for the abilities and see cool fight things, but yeah, you're also in a very dark and mysterious and ancient and dangerous place in the video games. Everything's
it's all dungeons and shit.
Yep. So yeah, I'm curious. Like this looks like they might do a really good job at that, because you have one fight in a warehouse, then you have a bunch of fights like in a street, and then you have a fight in like in an outworlds tournament thing. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be cool to see where their environment goes in this one, because I thought the original did a decent job.
Yep.
And I say decent because they did have a little bit of a limitation.
They didn't do as terrible a job as Street Fighter did.
Oh yeah, but Street Fighter wasn't even a remote. As much as I enjoy that film, it was a terrible film at the same time.
Oh no, and that's they didn't do the game any justice.
No, not at all.
It wasn't a lot to mine from the game itself.
It wasn't anything to do with the game.
Yeah,
they just took it and went, "Oh, let's do this." Now, I will say though, not that we're talking about Street Fighter, but I will say that I thought the typecasting in that movie was spot on for looks.
Yeah,
like the guy who plays Zangief, dead on. Yeah. This is the size, the look, just fucking spot on. Still the best line in the movie when they see that fucking TV with the truck full of explosives coming to it. Quick, change the channel. Yeah. It's like, DJ, where you going? It's like, I got paid. I'm out of here. It's like, you got paid? He was probably the best. Him and the sumo movie. Guy. I thought he was. Yeah, he was perfect too. He was very well. Chung Lee. Couldn't disagree with her. Really well. The guy that played Balrog was really well done. Yep. I think that he looked the part of Balrog from the game. Vegas. Johnny Vega. Whoops. Vega. Vega was spot on too. Yep, he was well done. Sagat was good. I was gonna say. I think Bison, Raul Julia. It was his last movie. Yeah, and what a way to go out. I think that he did a great job, although he didn't have necessarily the type, the look for it. Acting-wise, he crushed it. Yeah, he didn't look the part of Bison because Bison is supposed to have a very, chiseled, pronounced jawline. Well, and he's also 3 times the size of Muscular. Fucking right, yeah, he's supposed to be a big, imposing guy. He's supposed to be built like Zangief is in the movie. Yeah. Zangief is supposed to be bigger. Yeah, but I thought he did an amazing job. As an acting job, he crushed it. I still love when Chung Lee is talking to him about, it's like, you come in and murdered my family. It's like, see, for you, it was the greatest day that Bison came into your life. For me, it was just a Tuesday. Right. That is one of his best lines in that movie. But we're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, we'll do that another day. I just think that, that's what I'm excited for. For sure. To see those fight scenes as Annihilations. I think that you're right about that. Yeah, there's, it's just, there's so many things that were doable throughout all the games. It's really, I doubt they'll do the friendships, and I doubt they'll do the baby thing. Yeah, probably not. They're more novelty than they were. Yeah, they were novelties. Animalities could be cool to some degree. Like I say, there's that part where Liu Kang summons the fire dragon, but I don't know if that's the same as an animality. It looked cool in the trailer. I don't know if that's an actual move he has in the game or not. I don't know. I will say though that the guy who plays Raiden looks pretty intense. And I think that he looks like he's going to do a really good job. And he sounds like the bit of voice work he did in the trailer, he sounds good too. Yep. I think that he sounds believable. Yeah, and I think that that's something where I'm curious just to see where we're at an age now where the CGI is the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. And I've said this for many, many years that there are films that were done way back when that I think should be remade. Whether they do, they fail or they succeed money-wise, the fact that we have the technology now, you'd be I don't know, you'd be missing out if you didn't. Tron, for example, I thought was one of those. I thought the original films were boring as shit. Right. I didn't care for them. I just, whatever. I probably only watched it once, to be honest. But that's a film. That's a film that I felt, when they redid it, I'm like, sure. I think that'd be good. It seems right. Yeah. And then, you kind of get some more of those older films that are coming. I didn't hate the fact that they redid RoboCop. I just didn't like the fact that it didn't need to be done. Right. But it also wasn't anything special. It wasn't that good.
They didn't improve anything that much.
No, not really. It was, but
they made everything sleeker and black.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of like. It's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, whether or not it succeeds, like I do think that there are those films that, with the CGI now, with the digital effects, with all those animations that we can do, they should be at least tried to bring back to life or whatever because of that reason.
Sure.
There's so much you can do, especially anything that has to do with space and fantasy.
They should leave the explorers alone.
Yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with costumes, though, that's different. Because there's a difference between, like, you know, you're dealing with, like, digital effects versus costumes. Yeah. And I will honestly say, like, don't fuck with anything that had a costume in it back in the 80s.
Right.
And turn it into CGI. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because costumes, to me, will always win over makeup artists and stuff like that.
That's a craft.
Yes.
Like, that's a legit craft.
Yep.
And... yeah, you can't fuck with that with the CGI.
Nope. And I think that's kind of, you know, like Aliens and stuff like that. I think they started doing that a little bit now with like the new Alien films or Prometheus and stuff like that. But they are still trying to keep to that costume, you know, animatronics and stuff like that too. So like I have this like, but sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. Do I like it? Do I not? You know, I have this weird shift.
Sure.
But things like this.
Yeah.
Things like this new Mortal Kombat movie, fucking, it's going to kill it. I feel like it's going to do all the right justice. And it's a nostalgic thing. It's bringing us to our childhood and video games. And it's just amplified it into this live action thing that we didn't get.
And I mean, it's right up there with the idea that, like, when the revelation that they're making a HeMan movie. I was a HeMan kid.
Yep.
Like, I loved HeMan when I was a kid. Pardon me. And the fact that they're, like, I watched the original Masters of the Universe, and it's problematic. As a fan of the original, it's very problematic.
Yeah.
I love it in so much that I can say there's a He-Man movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not well done. It needed to be redone.
Yeah.
For anybody that was a fan of the cartoon, it needed to be redone. I'm also, side note, they're making He-Man toys again.
Well, it's because they're going to reboot the series that Kevin Smith is working on.
That's right. We talked about that.
Yeah, but it's animated, and Kevin Smith is going to... yeah, I think he finished writing the script.
I will kick Kevin Smith right in his dick if he ruins it for me.
I don't think he will, because he was a fan.
I don't think he will. He's a comic book and a cartoon fan.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's a fanboy. He's a nerd.
But it's one of those ones that, like... And I tried to go back and watch it a couple years ago.
Like the movie?
No, the cartoon.
Or the cartoon.
And I couldn't do it. Like,
yeah.
But...
there are those. There definitely are those.
In my heart, the child in me says, no, He-Man's awesome. Leave it awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I stand. Like, yeah, I agree. There are certain things that need to be remade, but you have to temper it properly.
Yeah. And I think that something that got me excited about this Mortal Kombat movie was that James Wan, who I'm a huge fan of, who did, you know, Aquaman, the Saw movies, he did Death Sentence. Yes. He did The Conjuring, Insidious. He has an incredible mind for visuals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from I don't remember, but he was attached to this project for like the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And I think he was supposed to be an executive producer.
Interesting.
Of this film. I would have to look it up, which I'll just do right now. But I do believe he was at least going to have some
amount of say in the movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I kind of hope he did, because like I remember seeing and hearing that he was attached to help with his film in some shape or form. And he's the perfect kind of guy to do it.
We may have talked about that at some point, because it sounds familiar. And that's kind of shit I wouldn't pay attention to, but you would. And so the fact that I kind of knew it feels like you and I have had that discussion before.
Yeah, because yep, he's a producer.
Okay.
Yeah, producer for the Mortal Kombat. So it's going to be, I think, that right there. So
it's helpful at least.
A producer is the one who basically finds the money and has the power and the say to say what's going on the screen.
Nice.
So the director is the one who directs. He captures everything, obviously, you know. He kind of has this image, but the producer is basically the one saying, well, let's do this, or let's do this, or basically let's do this, or whatever.
It's chef versus sous chef.
Yeah. I mean, the director has a lot of power, obviously.
Yeah.
But the producer's the one who... Well, he's the one who finds the money. He's the one that brings the money in. So money is obviously what's going to call the shots.
For sure.
And yeah, I'm just so excited. What in the trailer that you saw for some of those characters that we saw a handful of them. What do you think you're excited the most to see brought to life?
Well, so this is where it ends up being tough because I played the first one, but again, I wasn't a fighting game kid, so like none of the games were really that big for me. I liked the movies, but like the characters weren't as
relatable or connectable, or
like they weren't as like important to me as someone who played the games and like had a favorite at that point would have been.
Yeah,
I guess is the best way to say it.
You didn't really have like a favorite character though that you liked to play, or
no? I mean, because I played it a handful of times with a buddy of mine, and then I just didn't care. Like I say, I wasn't good at fighting games, so I didn't like to play them a lot. But I think what I'm more interested in is I'm more interested to see who they didn't put in the trailer, if anybody.
Yeah.
But I also am interested to see, of all the characters we did see, how much time they take for each character.
Yeah, that's actually something I was just pondering myself.
Like, you know, because you get, like, say, we got a blip of Smoke and we got a blip of Reptile. How much time are you going to invest in those characters? Or are they just fighters that show up and you fight them and they're done?
And, like, in the original films, they actually took some time into giving these characters enough time to have screen time and fight and interact.
Yeah.
So... You know, like you had Kano and Sonya fight on the beach. You had Goro and Johnny fight in that cave or whatever. Yeah. You even had Liu Kang and Sub-Zero fight. You had, I mean, you're like they gave an appropriate amount of time, and it was like almost not enough, so they had to make another film.
Reptile's in the first one too. Because he's that little lizard that crawls around. He climbs in the dead body and turns into another fight.
That's the second one. That's Annihilation, yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I was about to say. And then they didn't have enough, so they get to the second one, and that's something else that was super exciting. Is then you have more.
Yeah, you've got
fights.
New guys like Jax and Sonya fighting Cyrax and Noob Saibot, I believe. I think. So you've got those. You've got Reptile, who ends up being a character you have to fight in that one.
Yeah.
I thought Reptile's transformation in that one was really cool because it's literally the lizard that crawls into a dead body and transforms into a fighter.
Yep. And he is basically on speed.
Yeah.
The entire time he's fighting Liu Kang, he's just on speed, like just nonstop, like quick. But that's where I think you see the bicycle kick.
Yes. Yep.
So.
No, didn't he do it to Goro in the first one?
He didn't. I don't think he fought Goro.
Someone fought Goro in the first one.
It was Johnny Cage.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've watched these movies, I guess.
Johnny Cage who fought, but anyway,
But yeah, so I'll be interested to see like between just characters that may pop up that weren't in the actual trailer. And I hope that some of the ones that if they're gonna bring on other characters, I just hope they give them enough like screen time to be of worth.
Yeah.
Not as opposed to like in Annihilation with Nightwolf, who was actually a really cool character in the game to play, who was literally he just showed Liu Kang how to change into an animal.
Yeah.
And that was it.
He
wasn't even a fighter.
Just showed him his dragon. That was about it. Yeah. The only thing he did is he runs up and he runs cocks him in the back of the head and knocks him out, and that's about it.
A wolf, fucks with him for a second, and is like, "Oh, did you like that? It was my animality." And then like he has like 3 more lines, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like that was an actual character that was worth a shit. Like you probably could have mined some cool like because I'm pretty sure he fights with tomahawks in the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like
he does.
he would have been a cool fight scene if you'd like done it right.
Right. Yeah.
You know, guys like that. You know, if you're gonna bring him in, do something with him. Don't make him a throwaway character.
Yep.
Just for the sake of saying, oh yeah, he's in the movie.
Yeah,
that's
I agree
the same
with you.
as like T-Hawk and Cammy being in Street Fighter.
I was just about to mention that too. It's exactly who I was saying. T-Hawk. Yep.
Yeah.
What was the point?
Kylie Minogue playing Cammy, who's like the second badass chick in that game, who does fuck all.
Yep. I agree.
So that's kind of my hope for the movie. Is I hope whatever they do the proper justice. Like, I don't want throwaway characters. I want the characters that are on there to actually be of note.
Yes, me too. I'm right there with you.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
We'll find out on Friday.
Yeah.
So.
Woo!
Right.
And I got the weekend off.
Cool. Next week? Well,
Yeah.
you have the kid.
Yeah, Liam's there, so yeah, I have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off.
Well, still. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap up our trailer. So yeah, we'll get back to next week when we watch the film, and then we'll have to do a discussion.
Yeah. Hopefully Jason's present for this one.
Right? Yeah, he was supposed to be here today.
He got waylaid into something else, so
Yep.
not totally his fault.
It is too. He accepted it. He accepted the task and he couldn't complete. So
I was trying to be nice, but whatever.
But yeah, you have any announcements or anything you want to mention?
Nothing going on right now. Obviously, we got things in the works. We're going to be trying to do some different stuff, trying to improve the show, trying to move forward and do some more noteworthy stuff. Maybe give the listeners a little more content to play with.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, nothing really much going on. Everything's in the works right now. We can't put anything definite on it.
Yeah, not right now. But we do want to have more engagements with listeners. So please,
But yeah,
don't be afraid.
Drop if you have a movie suggestion, or you have a director, an actor you'd like us to talk about. Please feel free to either drop us a line on our Facebook page, which may be being revamped at some point here. We're going to figure that out. Or hitting us up through email. We have a Gmail account. All the links will be put into the show notes. So please, by all means, hit us up on those. Or we're also on Instagram.
Yep.
So again, all that'll be there. Also, please leave us a review. Rate us if there's a rating system on whatever you're listening on. Please.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Any of that, it all helps. I mean,
yeah.
We don't mind constructive criticism. Tell us what's wrong. We'll fix it. At least try to.
Or we'll just completely ignore you.
Yeah. I mean, if we ignore you, we don't care. But I mean,
that's not true. We
care.
Do care.
It's just not something we're going to change.
So, please do it. So, and please support our friend's band. Don't look at us.
Don't look at me, isn't it?
Maybe. Don't look at me.
It would be easier to know when he's here.
Right? It's his job.
Yeah,
but
we're doing him a favor.
You can always check him out too on his band on our descriptions and stuff like that in some of the podcasts. So,
for sure.
But yeah, otherwise this is Timothy Bennett here.
This is Aram Banyan.
We'll catch you later.
Later.
Peace.